Well, now that I'm here, I might as well. Let's do a bit of this, a bit of that, some of this, and some of that. And launch. Hi there, my name is TheTrueNev, I'm the only me there is, and welcome back to the Satisfactory Non-Series, episode 4 this time. And I must confess something, and it's that, yeah, sure, we got advanced steel production, and the next thing I want to get is Logistics Mark III, because we need them conveyor belts and industrial storages, am I right? But more than that, I must confess that between this episode and the last one, I had a bit of a factory meltdown, if you will. I tested checking what I'd need for the new materials, right? Obviously, I showed you when I launched it, but still, I did it before and then reloaded. And the point is that, as I was checking the materials I need and whatnot, in order to create, for example, stators, I need a lot of steel pipes, right? I can probably produce them, sure, not a problem. But then, for example, to create encased industrial beams, I need a lot of steel beams, which I simply cannot produce. Furthermore, if the plan I had for the steel factory is to come to fruition, that is to say, that it also allows me to create motors and the automated wiring and versatile framework, then I cannot do anything with what I have right now. See, I only have 3 normal coal nodes and 1 pure iron node in close proximity. Even assuming I stripped my current refueling station for the tractor of all its coal and used a miner Mark II on both of the normal nodes and also put a miner Mark II on the pure iron node, all I'd have at most is 240 of each material. And we learned that last time that a foundry requires 45 of each material in order to create, well, 45 steel ingots. And we need a lot of steel ingots to create a lot of the steel things. Just to get 24 steel beams, I'd have to have 4 foundries dedicated just to have 2 constructors with 2 steel beams. And it doesn't sound like a lot, right? But 4 foundries is already 180 out of 240 total materials, which is, again, not a lot. And even so, the math kind of checks out. But furthermore, I need to make rotors in order to make motors. And I don't have any way of making rotors with the current setup I have now, not close to the steel factory. Also, the versatile framework, it requires 2.5 modular frames per minute. You have no idea how much I despise these half counts 2.5. When an assembler can make at least 2 modular frames, meaning that in order to properly supply one assembler, I need 2 other assemblers making at least a combined effort of 4 modular frames per minute. And also the manager for this work. And just the primary wiring requires stators. And motors require 10 motors and 10 stators per minute. And stators make 4 stators per minute. 2 assemblers making stators, which gives me a whole bunch of steel, which means you also need 3 assemblers making motors. This is a system of negative technology. Now, putting on that side, there's the other part of the equation, which is that all these assemblers with foundry and constructors, miners have to do, and so on and so forth, require a lot of power. I mentioned last time we could For today's episode, I'm going to find a way to start producing the steel things very nicely, very well as, if possible, start expanding out this way. Now, before I skip ahead to the part where you'll probably see a bunch of new factories over in that horizon, I should mention one more thing, and that's that eventually I'm going to have to go out and search for more coal nodes or more bodies of water, just to make better and more efficient factories down the line. And I just realized I forgot to actually mention what I'm going to be building, and the first thing is I'm actually going to start work on the adjacent power plant structure before I run out of power, and then I'll work on steel. Or so I say, but then I remembered that I need to first make the miners to expand my coal production so that I can accommodate another 6 generators, and so first I actually need to fix this up to start producing encased steel beams, because that's exactly what I need for miner Mark II. So, away I go. Alright, so here I've made a makeshift encased industrial beam factory. These steel beams are never going to be enough because it's fundamentally flawed. The constructors are not receiving enough steel ingots at a time to actually craft enough steel beams at a time, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to manage some form of encased industrial beams in the meantime. I already have an idea in mind as for the annex to the coal factory. It'll be out the back and to the side, just to go in line with that thing I was talking about last time about where I would like to place foundational pillars and all that. And in the meantime, I should actually go about building up walls and floors and all that. I have enough materials to do so, and it'll benefit me in the long run, so yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna start making the tunnel over here that goes up, along with the actual roof, so I can eventually transport the modular frames from this area over to that area. This is gonna take a long time, and I hope my brain doesn't fry out before I manage to get it all done. And you know what? Yeah, I know. There are things you can find, different recipes that make crafting later game materials or mid-game materials or however you want to see them easier. Sure. But again, in order to get them, I need to face up to a lot of big bad nasties, and I have no way to defend myself against them right now. My little taser really does not do me any justice. So while I wait to upgrade my weaponry, I need to upgrade my bases. As soon as I feel confident enough to be able to go up against any creature to go recipe hunting, sure. Until then, I'm forced to make do with the factories and recipes that I have, and I think that'll be a nice challenge to take on. Oh, yes.
R&D inflated your pocket dimension, added an additional hand equipment slot, and have provided an improved Xeno Zapper with increased strength and range.
Yes, sirree. Gimme, gimme, gimme. How do I craft this thing? I forget already. Xeno Basher, baby. Ooh, I need another Xeno Zapper. Luckily, I have enough materials here to craft one. Boom. Oh, come to me. Wait, hold on. Get out of my inventory. Alright. Come to me, baby. Come to me. Oh, yes. There she is. Which, honestly, you look at the little blueprint, and at the little image of what it is when you're building it, and it's more like an elongated zap stick instead of a sword, but I'll be damned if this does not swing like a freaking sword, baby. Oh, yes. Okay, now I feel ready to take on the world. And you know what? Before I keep going, let me just mention this little tidbit right here. I need to keep doing the MAM. And I can probably do this one with enough wire and organs. But at the moment, I think I can do this one. No, I can't. I still need wire. So, yeah. I'm gonna get to these eventually, probably in this episode. The ones that I can, of course. But of course, I'm looking at this and thinking, you know what I want? I want the rebar gun. And I can't get it because I'm also missing some screws, but I want the rebar gun. As well as the ammo. If I can get them both, I can at least have 2 weapons against these bastards instead of only 1. And the analysis for the rebar gun is now complete, meaning that I can now create...
New equipment unlocked.
A rebar gun! Thank you, Ada. But what kind of gun would it be if it didn't have ammo, right? So I gotta craft this one. Research should be 3 seconds, so 3, 2, 1, and boom! Now I have spiked rebars. I can make ammo. What the heck was that? A little boom boom? No idea, but anyway. Last thing I'm gonna get, because I can afford it, is this one. 5 more minutes, and okay. That's enough toying around here again. You might think, oh, you just toyed around like twice in a row. No, I've been doing things, letting time pass. Don't worry about it. As soon as I'm ready to build the annex, those 2 are gonna go, as well as all the pipes and all that. Before I get to any of that, I could build it, I could make it, but I'm not gonna have enough water to feed that system, so I'm gonna actually have to make a supplementary water transport system. There's like 2 other lakes in that area, but I need to actually get to them, so yeah, one thing at a time. And rebar gun, come to me. And the spiked rebar is actually pricey, or at least pricey because I'm out of iron rods, but let's make 50 bullets. Boom, got it. Let's see now. No, not that. Where's my gun? Here we go. Yeah. Now I seem to recall this thing was not that powerful, kind of slow, kind of crooked, and it's basically a glorified nail gun. But you know, if it helps at the start, then I suppose it'll help at the start. As soon as I get an enemy in my sights, like for example, that guy down there, oh, especially because he's next to a recipe and he'll give me guts, and I need guts. Yeah, well, we'll see who's the better man then. Oh, darn it, I didn't catch it on camera. But hey, this guy started chasing me, so I had to defend myself with the sword baton thing. Anywho, I have designated, as you can see off in the distance over here, this large lake area as the central water power plant hub thing. And in a moment you'll see the plans I have always had for the pipes, should they ever come this way. I had chosen the other area initially because it seemed closer to the coal, but I always wanted to use this small area for the actual pipes. And speaking of which, I made some minor modifications to this structure in front of me, which I'll show off right now. But right now I'm laying down the groundwork so I can properly direct the pipes. I had to pause to get some materials, but let's just look at how it looks. Yes, I know, that's redundant. From up here, these lakes, I'll actually go over there right now, but this is basically where I decided to set it all up. As straight as possible, neat and tidy as possible, just as I like it. But of course, before I head over there, I need to go on a quick supply run for concrete, and I don't know if you recall, I'll probably splice in a bit of previous footage here, but this looked a little differently before. I accommodated it so that the ramps now go off to the side, and this has also been slightly modified. I decided to break in the shell type foundations just to see, just as a placeholder, and I think it looks pretty nice. So the idea I've always had is to have pipes going down the middle of this factory floor, and then up here something like glass foundation so you can walk on and eventually see the area where the pipes go across. Now where this would end up is probably over here, but I'm not entirely sure. I've thought about maybe expanding it out this way and under the bridge and then lead it into the coal factory, or I could just have one splitting that way and then the other two, because I want to have 3 pipes total, going out this way or something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure yet, like I said, but there's plenty of potential here, plenty of possibilities. And before I forget, no. This episode will be very weird, it'll be very transient. Well, it'll be mostly about gaining power and all that, literal electrical power, but also I've been thinking about it, and you know what? I think I'm going to complete the factory for this one specifically, this large structure, along with working on that one to make the extra modular frames, as I said I would. That's going to be the most annoying one because it's already set up, but it's nothing that can't be done. But of course, one thing at a time. We need power to get steel, and we need steel to keep going. And as for the hypertubes that you see here, the current milestone, I think I'm going to leave that for the next episode, simply because I don't want to bog this one down with too much information, and the hypertubes are, well, they're a beast on their own, according to what I've seen. Probably meriting their own episode alone, but yeah. This weird structure I made right here was simply because I was running out of concrete and I didn't know what to do, so I played hopscotch with my life. And so, about an hour later, I have finished my fleet of water extractors. As you can see, it's a small fleet, but it's looking very nice, very organized. And I gotta say, I love the way it came out. It looks very smooth and clean, with straight, neat pipes that go side by side, perfectly spaced. This bend you see right here was because I was trying to avoid as much rock and trees as possible, because as I've said before, I want to preserve nature as much as possible. And I got the spacing right, which allows me to put down these 3 pumps over here. While I would like to work on this general structure, put down all the walls, make sure the pipes go in and through it, you know, for the vision that I've always had for this place, I realized I can't do it just yet because I'm depending on the tickets. And the problem with the tickets is I require like 24 tickets. And all I have at the moment are barely 11. So I thought of another compromise, because we need to compromise on this. And I told myself I'd instead get the railing, the stairs, the double ramp pack, the foundation pillars, and the door walls, which comes down to about 10 tickets. But because I want everything in order to make the factories perfect, I'm not going to work on that structure just yet. Not just yet. Instead, I'm going to do exactly what I should have been doing all along, because I can get easily distracted and I try to do everything at once, which is the annex to the coal factory. So what I'm going to do right now is get to that, and I'll see you once the actual annex is done. But before I can even move forward, I have to say something, and it's that I'm in a bit of a pickle. Or rather, this guy is. Yeah. I bet you're probably wondering what's going on here. Well, see, as it turns out, I was experimenting in the off time with placing down platforms and walls next to certain creatures. Specifically, those little trees that explode that let out 3 little flies? Yeah, those. And as I was placing them down and realized that I could encase them in little boxes, the thought came to me, what if I do encase them and get close? Would it still explode? So I did the experiment over there, as you can see, and to my surprise it was a success. But when I did that, I realized, hey, what if I tried to encase every creature inside a box to sort of have them enslaved, on exhibit? And I was gonna go through with it. I really was. But then I realized that this guy, it's not the fact that he's boxed in wrongly, you know, going through the foundations and whatnot. It just turns out that if you go too far away and then come back, he'll have despawned. So what would have been a great idea to have an exhibit is now just gonna not go through. At least not with these guys. They despawn. But the flies and the trees are static creatures. They're always there. So I might as well keep that exhibit over there for the future. A small zoo, if you will. For now, though... Ow! I want to check these guys out. Cute little guys, huh? Now, these are passive little creatures with funny mechanics that, you know, you can bounce on them, which just really makes me sad that I can't box one in. But they're highly resistant to damage, as in my previous playthrough of Satisfactory, my previous series, I managed to kill one, and boy, that was a fun time. But they're completely harmless. They are fun little creatures that actually get very scared when you hurt them. And whoa, don't bounce me around. And well, yeah, my zoo plans start and end here, at least with this guy, because I can't actually box him in without him despawning. But anyway, time to get onto the annex, for real this time. But of course, one last step before I actually build the annex is to fix this little area up over here. Just as I did a fleet over there, I kind of want to do a small fleet over here, more organized. Have also 3 pipes going down this way. This way I can have water going into 2 different buildings without finding ways to split this one off more than it needs to be. So, the first thing that I need to do here is actually get rid of my enemies. And what better way than by using the rebar gun. I want to test it out. I want to see if I can actually hit these guys from here, these stupid trees. Let's see. Straight shot. Go! Ooh, whoa, that actually worked. Okay. For a moment, I thought the arc motion of the bullet would not work, but oh, I can't even see them anymore. Can I hit this guy, though? Nope, he's moving around. Oh, so close. Let's try that again, though. Like this. Yes, like that. Don't you dare get near me. 2 strikes. And now I shall christen my very first power slug by getting this one in the middle of this little lake, so that he's not burdened by all my pipes. Okay, second fleet is done. Well, almost. Anyway, I got the pipe system all nice and clean. It's already linked up to the actual power plant. I just need to turn on the power plant and, of course, make the rest of the pipe connections. But now it's time to start work on the annex. And now the power plant is basically done. I just need to reroute the coal, which I already have the system set up, power them on, as well as give them water, and we'll be good to go. And we are on. Hopefully this thing doesn't crash before the water starts pumping through the pipes, but let's see. Okay, and with the coal pumping in and the water also pumping in quite smoothly, I've got a functioning annex, and it's looking beautiful. Yes, siree! I also managed to fix up this piping so that it's not dual instead of one, and now everything's flowing well. The only thing that could be better is this third pipe that's leading nowhere, but hey, it's something. And with the annex done, I fear that I'm out of time. I have to say it, yes. I would have loved to squeeze in more, but it's amazing how little time I had, or how much I underestimated just how big an undertaking this annex part would be. Next episode, we're going to build up the steel factory, you know, including the modular frames, if possible. Through the use of the awesome shop and all that, we could finish the actual coal power plant as I intended. And you know what? Before I go, I'm going to leave you with something I mentioned earlier in the episode, but I didn't actually get to show off, which is an exhibit. If we drive along this way into the savannah, although this path is clearly a little blocked, so let's go on foot. Stop here and follow the two twin bridges over here, which will eventually be eliminated. Although, I'm going to take advantage of this limestone ore. We keep following this one until we arrive at a small zoo-like exhibit where there are two trees and a lake. Lo and behold, what happens when I get near these little boxed-in trees? Absolutely nothing. Thus, we can observe the trees in their natural state without having to forcing them to explode. And for next time, I want to make sure these guys know who's the boss. So I'm gonna make one explode and trap the flies inside so we can study them further. But anywho, thank you so much for watching this rather short, rather long, I don't know, it'll come out in editing, strange transitionary episode of the Satisfactory Non-Series. Next episode, we will make substantial progress. Steel factory, a proper steel factory, better use of coal, as always advancing in whatever we can, and hopefully the awesome shop upgrades which I want to get. If you liked it, then please thumbs up that like button down below, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell button for some sweet notifications. But as always, I'm the only me, so you be the only you. See you next time.